Ken, who did you want to win that the election that the MPP had recently? Who did you want to win?
Hey, the primaries. Hey, I mean they're not well. Showdown.
Showdown, man.
Showdown,
But Craig,
man.
also, who did you want to win?
Baumia,
Oh, showdown, showdown.
Showdown. Okay. Hey, okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah. So, Reverend, you seem to have full support for Honorable Ken. Why do you have that for him? Is it that you just love him or?
I mean, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, of course. But the thing is this, when you are somebody that, has a country at heart and you love your country, because in America, this is all you hear. Politicians in America talk about the love for country, right? The love for country. The love for country should always supersede the love for self. And if you look at Honorable Kennedy Japan, he's done so much for Ghana. I mean, even before this whole primaries thing, right?
Yeah.
He's done, helping Tamale Hospital with a generator, building the cardiothoracic center for, 37 military hospital, the businesses that he's established and employing young people, who are the future of the nation. If you look at these things, he didn't even have to open his mouth on the stage for us to know that, he loves the country.
And surprisingly, a lot of things that he has done, I don't know about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those of us who have been following politics and, for that matter, Ghanaian politics for a long time, we know things, right?
Yeah.
We know things.
No, it was as the election came on that people were giving his manifestos and portfolios about him.
Yes, it's true. But, we all knew that he was helping a lot of people. We knew that.
Oh, okay.
Because even those of us that live, outside of the country, we've heard a lot of things that he's been doing. And if you are a strategist like me, you try to get to know every politician that comes to the scene. Let me give you for example.
Okay.
I'm not, in the past, I used to be a party person, but I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually, here in the US, I'm an independent, because I think that Africa has to move away from political parties to looking at people for who they are. If we start that, then we will start looking at independent candidates, like what Benin did by electing an independent candidate as the president. I think where we have gotten to as a country, we need to migrate towards the individualized thinking, so that we can identify people like Honorable Chamatin right now, for his contribution to the national building, and for those people accordingly votes, instead of people who come tell us stories, and then when you bring them to power, they do something. So for me, I think that is, where, my mindset is. When I look at a crop of politicians in Ghana right now, Honorable Kennedy Japan is a person that I love to death. I think this man is a great visionary. Some of the things that he said, as an economic student myself, former economic student myself from graduate school, when I listen to some of the things that he said, this is a man that is embodied, his thinking is embodied in the capitalism, which Ghana actually needs. Africa, a lot of African countries needs to shift away from social economy to capitalism, to empower private sector growth. Because when you empower private sector growth, you provide more jobs. But also what happens is that it brings about more discipline. and more accountability. Because if I own a
Yeah.
business, I'm not going to sit down for somebody to come and mess it up, right? I'm going to hold everyone
Yes.
accountable to protect my investment. So when I listen to him, he's great. He's amazing. I think if Ghana will allow him to be president, he's going to be amazing. Let me tell you one thing too.
Yeah.
I think that the youth of Ghana and the people who love Honorable Kennedy Japan, even though he didn't win to become the flag bearer of the MPP, they had at him as an individual. And if I was in Ghana right now, and you know me and how I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a violent person. I'm not saying there should be violence. There should never be any room for violence in our country.
Yeah.
Past that.
Yes.
But I think the youth and the people that support Honorable Kennedy Japan can simultaneously one day rise up every part of the country and rally and return of the showdown and rally for 7 days, like the revival that happened many years ago, right?
Okay.
That brought about a charismatic movement. They can rally the whole part, Tamale, Cape Coast, Accra, Kumasi.
Kumasi, yeah.
It's one day, one rally. Pull everyone from their homes with their Showdown t-shirt and rally for a whole week until Honorable Kennedy Japan comes out and declare his independent candidature, so they can vote for him.
Wow.
Because the people of Ghana can call him out to lead them without going to the NDC or political party.
Okay, Reverend, talking about thanks for that input. Talking about the independent candidates. So, Ken, do you remember that we used to have certain independent candidates? I think there was this lady, I've forgotten her name. She had money. She was also on the ballot some time ago. She and Trabosom too was on the ballot. I don't know if you remember. Ekiadonko. Yes. Yes.
The party coming in this Freedom Party said then.
Yeah. So she was an independent and Trabosom too also. So Reverend, I want to know, these independent people, when they come, who is going to be in their cabinet? Like, who are going to be their ministers? Because I feel like they don't really have that kind of power or people to manage the economy. Because I feel like once they are there, it will only be them. Yeah. Yeah.
So the question you ask is, what is the Benin president doing? So when you talk about countries that have evolved to that level, when you have people in parliament, see, first of all, we have to have a lot of selfless people in parliament too, who love country, love, right? And when you have a country that see a lot of success with independent presidential candidates winning elections, what is going to happen eventually is that you will have individual parliamentarians who are independent parliamentarians across the country will also start winning elections, because people will see the presidency's example and try to replicate that in their communities and choose people who actually do have good intentions about the country.
Okay.
You have a lot of those people. See, the thing is this, the whole idea is this.
Okay.
There should be a time in the history of Ghana where there is no actually dominant majority in parliament anymore. So NPP can come to power. The NPP can go through elections and come out with just about 32, MPs. NDC, this is just examples. NDC can come in with 35. And then there are like independent parliamentarians.
Yeah, independent parliamentarians. Yeah.
What NPP and NDC have in such a parliament? Nothing.
It's true. Nothing. It's true.
There will be a lot of negotiations before anything can happen, which should be the case, because if you have people negotiating before any bill or anything passes, then you get the best bills to pass.
Yes.
Because now no
Yeah.
one is thinking along party lines anymore. They are thinking about the economy itself. So,
Okay.
like for example, Honorable, Shermatin, if he wins, and I bet you he's going to be the one who is going to decide who is going to be the president of Ghana.
Okay.
I bet you that's not what is going to happen. And from what has happened, I will be surprised if he goes and supports Bawumia to be president. I don't think that's going to happen. But
okay.
But I'm also thinking that from now to next year December is a long time. So Ghanaians have a choice. If you like Honorable Kennedy Japan, and he didn't, and again, if he doesn't come out to become an independent, but my choice is that the youth and the people that love this man will rally simultaneously 1 week. They start a 1 week. It's almost like a revival, right? From every part of the country, and media should telecast this live from every part of the country. So when Honorable Kennedy Japan sees hundreds of thousands, millions of people in every part of the country calling his name, the return of the Showdown.
Definitely.
And and I mean, he will know how many people he's going to get if he stands for president right away. So he can make that.
Okay.
So the decision is in the hands of those people. But again, let's come back to the independent candidate. If independent candidate wins and goes to parliament, right? And you have that is kind of really divided along party lines and also individual, parliamentarians, independent parliamentarians. That president can choose from every side of the divide and form a quorum of people that can advise him on stuff, and then he can work with them. But I think that Honorable Shermatin is a very nice gentleman, to the extent that I think a lot of people will love to work with him from both sides if he becomes a president. So I'm not even worried. I think Honorable Kennedy Japan doesn't come back, then all his people should just go and vote the butterfly and just nullify the two parties. Because it's too much for Ghana.
All right. So, Reverend, with your full support, like I feel your energy for Honorable Kennedy Japan. So, which biblical character can you associate Honorable with? Who is he portraying in the Bible? Yeah.
I'm going to give you two examples.
Okay.
The first one, I would say, I will probably go. The first one that comes to mind, I would say David.
Okay.
Because you remember, King Saul, was the first king of Israel, and he ruled for many years. During his rule, Samuel in Samuel in Kings, I think, went to the house of Jesse to
to anoint.
David as the king of Israel. But you realize that when David was anointed, he was just a little boy. David was around, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was around 10 to 15 years in 1070 BC.
Okay.
This is First Kings, I think, chapter 16. Yes. He was anointed around that time to be the king. But before then, he had been anointed, as a little boy, 10 to 15 years. And he stayed for 15 years before Saul's reign came to an end. And he became a king. But think about it carefully. How is it that there was a king and David was anointed? Well, God, rejected Saul. But Saul continued to rule after 15 years after God had rejected him. Which is a very serious issue, because if you get rejected by God, that is a serious issue. But at the same time, God had actually picked the person who was going to be his successor. So it means that somebody might be a president and has been rejected by God, and somebody else has been anointed. But what I'm afraid of, especially for what happened in Ghana, that whenever God anoints people, the people that he's going to rule over are the ones that confirms what God has done, right? So if you
Yes.
remember when Saul was anointed king, the people rejoiced with Saul.
Yeah.
But when David killed Goliath, right? You remember that the song changed because people started singing the praises of David instead of Saul.
Instead of Saul, yeah. And that made him angry.
Which tells you that at that very moment, there had been a transition.
Okay.
That had happened in secret by the anointing of David in secret at the age of 15, had now transitioned into the hearts of the people.
Okay.
And now they were calling him as a hero, but they didn't just end it. They compared him to Saul, which tells you that they were affirming that David was now going to be their leader and not Saul anymore. So that is one part that I'm going to say. So that is a very serious issue that, you know, biblically, you have to think about it that way. And I know that some people are going to throw stones on the field, especially those prophets who have prophesied that Honorable King Japan was not going to get this or was not going to get that. And and you know, you and I know that I'm a theologically trained pastor, so I'm not the guy that waits for other people to give an offering before I eat, because I don't even make a penny for my churches that I pastor, right? So
yes, that's true.
So let's put that disclaimer out before people start some cycle, pastors who are praying on the school park start throwing stones on them. So let's take that one out. But then we have to go to